Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. So what's the best amp for home use? Well, that's kind of a personal preference thing. So in all, there really isn't any best amp for home use. Now, for me, my personal go-to amp is my Rolling Cube 60, and I use it with my pedal board for 99.9% of my music stuff that I do on YouTube and stuff I don't do on YouTube. I do have a Boss Katana mini amp that I run once in a while. It's a nice little practice amp. It's actually going to come in quite handy in the summertime for playing outside with my electric guitar. Throw 6 batteries in it. I'm good for like 7-8 hours. Easy, you know. I've got a couple of old PV Edition 20 amps that, you know, if I want that more vintage tone from way back in the 80s when these things were made, I go to them. You know, those are my amps for that sort of thing. And they're great for in the house too. Any amp is good for in the home. It's just a matter of dialing things in. Now, the Rolling Cube 60 is a little bit overkill as far as wattage goes, you might think, because a lot of people think 100 watts or 200 or 300 watts is too much for in the house, and it really isn't. All you got to do is turn the volume down nice and low, okay, add on a boost pedal, okay, a clean boost pedal. Now I have an Outlaw Effects Broiler Maker, which is a clean boost, and you can adjust a lot of settings on there like bass and treble and stuff. And then of course I have that I mix in with like a distortion or an overdrive or my phaser, flanger, whatever, right? And it gives a bit of extra output to the amp with that clean boost pedal. So I can still preserve those tones that I'm after for the music I want to play, but I get to play it at a much lower volume with the amp setting and still up the output of the amp at the same time, okay? And it works. So really, I don't think that if you have an amp already, I really don't think you have to go out and buy something new and different just to get what's called a home use amp, because there really is no such thing. It's preference, it's taste, it's setups, you know. But if you really, really must go out and buy something smaller and lower wattage, by all means, go ahead and do so. But I think you're really wasting your money. I see a lot of ads come up for sale for like even Marshall stacks, like 100-watt heads with a 4x10 or 4x12, you know, cabinet with it. And guys are like, well, it's too much power for my place. No, it's not too much power. You just need to know how to turn the volume level down really low to get just enough of a sound out of it, then do the rest with your clean boost and your effects pedals, and you're good to rock and roll. I mean, it's that simple and easy. You know, when it comes to wattage, like let's say a 30-watt amp versus a 100 amp, it's a few decibels extra is all it is. Okay, so if you study up on wattage and decibels, and you'll find out how they're related to each other, you know, that extra wattage you're paying for is only a couple of dB. If it was serious dB, then I'd say, okay, it might be worth that kind of money. That's where I'm kind of picky too when it comes to prices on guitars. You know, I mean, for me, it stops at $2,500 before tax for a guitar. Anything after that, it's nothing. It's bragging rights. Sure, you might get some better quality wood. Now, on an acoustic guitar, you know, you may pay more money and you might get something that really appeals to you more than the lesser priced ones. But, I mean, everybody has their preference and taste. I mean, to me, I'll go up and I'll play on stage in front of thousands of people with a $300 Affinity Strat or a Tele. I don't care, because I've set my guitar up so that it can sound good enough and it plays like a dream, you know. So why should I spend $3,000 or $4,000 on a much higher end guitar if I can do it for less money and still get an awesome playing guitar? There's, by the way, a lot of musicians nowadays that are actually running Fender Bullets, Fender Affinities, and very cheap Squiers as well, and playing professionally, you know, and even in the studio they'll use them, you know, because they're getting the sound and tone they need out of them. And yeah, they got expensive guitars at home too that cost them thousands of dollars, but that crap is just bragging rights. I mean, seriously, you've got to really understand this too, that when it comes to a solid bodied electric guitar, tone wood doesn't exist. It's all about the nut. It's about your intonation, your how your relief is set on your neck, your whole main setup of your guitar, and your pickups, your pots, your capacitor being used. That's your tone, plus what's in here. And you know what? About 90% of it, it's all what's in here. I've seen people take like really crappy first act guitars from Walmart on YouTube and make them sound like they're a $10,000 guitar. They know how to play. That's the big thing, you know. You have to know how to play. You can play any crappy guitar and make it sound like a multi-thousand-dollar guitar, you know. It's that easy, you know. But hey, you know what? Everybody has their thought processes. Some people believe in tone wood on every guitar out there, but I'm sorry, it just doesn't exist on solid body electrics. Hollow body, yes. Acoustics, most definitely. But you know what? You can still pay thousands or tens of thousands of dollars for an acoustic guitar, and you know what? There are better sounding guitars out there from the same company for far less money. You just haven't played on them yet to find out, you know, how good they really can be. Or maybe you have to spend that kind of money that's obscene, not for bragging rights, but to get that sound you're after. Because we're all after, if we're doing our own thing with our own sound, we need the instruments that are going to achieve that for us. And sometimes, yeah, you might have to go and spend a little bit of money on a Strat or a Tele or a Les Paul or whatever, but a lot of times you really don't. I mean, I don't even like real Gibsons. I think they're a joke, you know. And the fact that the company has never corrected their issues with their headstock since the beginning of time, and they've known about it being a problematic thing right from the beginning, that's kind of screwing your customers right from the get-go. You know, and they don't want to fix it. They could easily fix it. They just don't want to, you know. And a lot of that thing with the Les Paul being an iconic guitar is not so much the body itself, but it's the sound that comes out of that guitar. It's the pickups. But it's also the player. I mean, you can give a $20,000 guitar to anybody, but only somebody that knows how to play it and can make that thing sing is going to make it sound awesome, okay? But at the same time, you can take that same person and put them on a friggin' $300 copy of a Les Paul even, or an SG or whatever, you know, and they'll make that thing sound like it's a multi-thousand-dollar guitar when it's not, okay? So when you start looking at amplifiers, it's no freaking different, okay? You don't have to spend thousands of dollars on a great amp, because you know what? All amps are voiced differently, but you may have to spend the money to get that amp because of a tone you're after, you know. Excuse me, I was yawning there, trying to avoid going yawn. My Roland Cube 60 amp, now, let's face it, it's an expensive amp, brand new. It really is. Even used, they go for a lot of money. But I got lucky, and I got mine for 60 bucks. And I got to tell you, it's probably the best amp I've ever owned so far, next to my Roland Cube 15, you know. And it has the sound that I'm after. But that sound is not just the amp. It's not just my setting on my pedals. It's also me as the player. I make that thing sing, okay? You know what I mean? So that's what it boils down to. But for me, I like to have high wattage, because it means I'm going to get a clean sound even at louder volumes. Even before I even start clipping the amp, I'm going to get nice, pure sound. I'm going to get clean dirt. I'm going to get clean cleans, okay? Because I have the wattage, and I've got the speaker size, and I got the cabinet size that can pull all that off. And I have the settings dialed in so I can pull that stuff off, you know? And that's how it works. Now, if you really must have a really tiny amp, take in consideration there are a lot of choices out there. There are Blackstar amps. There's the Katana Mini, which is actually the most popular selling of them all right now, and it has the best sound even over the Blackstars. You know, best features too, best bang for the buck. You know, and that's a Boss Roland Katana Mini. Take a look at it. You may like it, you may love it, you may hate it. depends on the sound you're after. Does it produce it? Yeah, it might. Throw some pedals on it. It takes pedals really well, you know. Give it a go. You never know. And that would definitely be a really great suitable mini amp for you if you really want something that is portable and it's got a great sound. But otherwise, generally, I'm sorry, there is no such thing as the best amp for home use, okay, or for any use for that matter, you know. But we've already discussed where all that sound really does come from, for the most part. Anyways, thanks for watching. Catch you on the next video. Hey, you know the deal. Ask questions, subscribe, click the bell, get notifications. New uploads all the time. Catch you on the next one. Ciao.